Okay, so with this activity, what you're going to do is here's your vocabulary words that we learned for Module 3 for functions. And here's a mapping. So this is a mapping that you usually get on the problems. And what I want you to do is to associate the words with one side of the mapping. So we're going to act like this is split into equal sides, and you're going to associate the words with just one side of the mapping. Okay? So which side of the mapping does domain go to?
Age.
Okay, and then you just set it on there. Okay.
And input variable is probably on age too. Input on height. No. I think age, output.
Right.
Dependent variables. Right here.
Right.
Ranges. I think on age.
What does range mean?
Like the range of the, like range.
So what does it mean in terms of the function? We have a domain and we have a range. Do you remember what the definition of range is?
No.
So there's a couple definitions here. Let's spread these out. There's a couple different definitions. And somewhere in there is a definition of range, and there's a definition of domain. Remember that domain goes with range, right? So one side would be domain, and one side would be range, right? So you've placed domain correctly.
So range goes over here.
So range goes over there, and now try to find the definition of range so you can confirm why range goes over there.
This one. The value that must be entered into a function that determines your answer.
So the value that has to be entered into a function to determine the answer. And then this one is the value that is calculated after you enter a given value. So here's all of our words, and this goes to one of the words, right? These definitions go to one of those words. Which one of the definitions, right? Let's say for the example, this one, the set of all possible inputs. So it's using the word inputs in it. So it's not, it wouldn't go to input, right? Because you don't use the word to define itself. Okay. The set of all possible inputs. So we know it's going to go into one of these over here because these are all grouped together. What is the definition? What does this definition apply to?
Probably range.
So we know it's got to go over here, right? On this side. It's one of these. So I'm telling you, it's one of these, but it's not input because the word input is in the definition.
So probably domain.
Domain, yeah. The set of all possible inputs. So then we just know that we need to practice on that one. The set of all possible inputs is domain. Okay? So if the set of all possible inputs is domain, then range is on the other side. The definition will look something like this, right? The set of all possible. And then what's on the other side? Inputs on this side. Outputs on the other side. So this would be for the range, right? That definition would go for the range. The set of all possible outputs. Okay? So these ones are going to go to the other words, right? So the value that is calculated after you enter a given value. So when you enter something into a function and then you calculate it, it gives you an output, right? So you enter in an input and it gives you an output. Right, so if this is the value that is calculated after, is this the input or the output?
The output.
The output. So it goes over there on that side, and it actually goes to, there you go, it goes to the dependent variable. The dependent variable is the value that is calculated after you have a given input. Okay, so what does that one say?
The value that must be entered into the function to determine your answer.
There you go, so you have to enter something in. So what we enter in is an input, right? So that goes on that side.
On this side, that side.
Got it. This side. With a dependent variable.
And these.
And those are the last ones. Perfect. So X value right here, Y value right here, right? So as long as you remember that, you'll be ready for your Monday test too.
So if I remember all this, I'll be ready for my Monday test.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.